Everybody, and welcome back to another dev demo. Now, I want to show off a few things I've been working on the last couple days. I know I haven't been working on the things I said I was going to work on. There's the cardboard box mod that still needs to be updated to 112, and ICBM still needs work. As you guys kind of voted on Twitter what I should be working on those weeks and didn't get to finishing them, classwork is one of those things that takes a priority, and it's been hectic the last couple weeks. This week it's going to be even stranger, is even though I don't have actual classwork to do, I do have a Practium class that has a lot of dynamic changing of the schedule, as it's a run by another student. So you have 4 students in the Practium and one of them's in charge, and his instructions are not the best. I mean, this is expected of Practium. Luckily, when we get graded on the Practium, we're kind of graded on our individual rather than if the project succeeds or not, because it's probably going to be rough. We got like 6 weeks left and nothing's going well. Mainly because I'm not a web developer and we're doing a web project. But yeah, so what I've been working on, mainly client commissions. I gotta knock that stuff out. So we did the weapon system not long ago, got it working. I've been polishing it more. I am started on the armor system in the army mod. This is another thing for a client commission I need to knock out. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and that'll be accessible by you guys. So the weapon system is also accessible via the army mod, so you can make swords, axes. You can actually make tools too. Although the tool system needs a little bit more work, it is functional enough that you can make pickaxes, axes, and that kind of stuff. Same with the weapon system. It's functional enough that it works. The damage system is doing really, really well. We got a potion system working, so you can apply potion effects, and the entity effect system is now functional. So you can do bleeding effects, and you can make your own effects. The cool thing with how the weapons work, and I was explaining this to somebody yesterday, they pick up every type of damage ability that the guns have access to, and the guns have access to some pretty unique ones, like being able to set off ICBM blasts and doing AoE effects. This is on top of being able to do simple damage, like just doing attack damage, applying things like fire effects, and then doing your other things like potion effects and effects. So you can get all of that on anything, so it doesn't matter if it's a sword, a gun, a grenade, a bomb. In army mod, you can access all those abilities. Pretty much going to be for everything. But yeah, so working on that. Got started on the armor system. The armor system will be able to pick up on the damage stuff too. So not only will you be able to block these type of damages, you'll be able to release these damage types when you're attacked and do other cool things. I'll probably try to give you guys access to as much as possible for creating armor effects that you want. So those who want to make really cool RPG mod packs, you now have the ability to do your cool enchanted armor with AoE effects and auras and stuff like that. This is also going to play into the stat system. The stat system is being made for a client commission, so I'm not going to release this because the client wants to put it in his own mod pack. But I will be making a version of it later. And I mean later, it's going to be a couple months down the road because I'm not quite sure how I want to handle this. I have a few different needs from a stat system. All the mod packs we work on, so volts, amps, ohms, and hertz, which are the 4 main mod packs that we're developing, they all kind of need a stat system. Not very powerful stat systems, but a stat system, so that way the game or the mod packs when you're playing in game have a more of a unique feel and a little bit better of an RPG-esque game style. The problem is all 4 of them need a little bit different RPG system. The volt system, I want a really, really basic RPG system where you can simply change a few of the properties about how you go about things, so you can increase your health, slight damage resistance, and improve your abilities to use certain equipment. So the abilities would actually probably be a separate system. But I don't want a whole bunch of things. I don't want like a whole bunch of movement speeds, armor, other things you see in an RPG system. But then you go to amps and ohms. Amps, you want to have more adventure-like abilities, more things that help you quest and explore. And then ohms, you want more magical abilities, and you want that RPG-esque feel where you can massively boost your HP, your armor, your attack, your magic abilities, and stuff like that. And then hertz is another survival one, so it's probably going to be really close to volts. So yeah, that's all the different things when I'm thinking that one. Now the system I'm developing for a client, I don't know if he even knows what he wants, because when he originally approached me with the concept, along with a lot of other things I've been working on, this is the same client I've been working with for a while, and he wanted the RPG system from the beginning. He told me HP, stamina, and I think the last one was food bar. At least I think that was what it was. So it was 3 stats that he wanted originally. I was like, yeah, cool, that sounds like Skyrim. Skyrim has 3 stats. Then I asked him here yesterday, what do you want? And he goes, okay, I want HP, food bar, movement speed, armor, Oh, there's a huge list. Breathing ability, so increased air supply, attack damage, damage resistance. I think he even wants the ability to increase your reach and stuff. There's like a whole bunch of stuff, which isn't too bad. Most of the stuff I can take care of. Half of it can be done via the Minecraft attribute system. Minecraft is a really cool built-in attribute system where you can apply changes to the character. It's what you see, like if I pull a sword out. So when you see +6 attack, that's actually an attribute. That gets applied to the entity on top of the entity's any other attribute abilities, and they all stack up and they get calculated, and it does this. It also allows for equipment. The interesting thing is, even though attribute system works for armor, I actually have not seen attributes on armor before. So if you like look at just this mod's armor, which I don't remember what armor mod is that from, but it doesn't have attributes on it. If we go and find iron armor, the only thing iron armor has is it should show an armor value, but of course I'm in 1.7 and that isn't added. The interesting thing, or actually rather not interesting, the unfortunate thing is armor is not actually an attribute. It is actually a value calculated separately. I hope in the newer version of Minecraft that's actually fixed, because in order to do armor for the stat system, I actually have to capture the damage event, apply the armor, then pass the modified damage into the rest of the system, which is probably not going to work properly. But yeah. Anyways, to move on, because I've just kind of been talking here to make the video length go up and as well as explain what's going on, I know yada yada. The part I actually wanted to show off is a cool bug that happens when you don't pay attention to what you're doing with the attributes. Ignoring the HP, because there's probably some problem with the HP too, because I noticed, how many hearts I got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which means it thinks I have 14 additional hearts, which is not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be 10. But here's the other point. If I can hit move forward. So I've got the movement speed set to 10. I can literally teleport around. Eventually I will crash though, because the game is not meant to do this. But yeah, it's one of those important things that I might want to think about when I continue working on this, is setting a maximum speed. The cool thing is it's not breaking as bad as I think it should. Hold on, let me get some iron blocks out here. See if I can go through a wall. Yeah, I can sort of go through the wall. I think if I'm encased, it won't let me go through a wall. That's cool. It's at least it understands that there is a limit to the speed. So I may actually let it have a little high maximum on this, just because that's pretty fun. But anyways, that's what I've been working on last couple days. Also, I almost forgot. I have worked on the EMP. I can't really show it off because it's really hard to explain the changes to the EMP, but the ray traces have been improved. It used to be when you fired off, it ran a ray trace per block, and this wasn't really ideal because it was essentially if you had 10 blocks in a row, you ended up with 10 ray traces, even though if you only needed 1 ray trace. I fixed that, so you get 1 ray trace. There's a huge reduction in the CPU usage required to do the EMP now. On top of that, it now has inventory support. So it will EMP players' inventories, minecart inventories, etc. I'm still working on tile inventories, and I'm still working on the finer details of how the EMP behaves. Main thing is if I actually shoot it here, it should be able to EMP this item, but when I go to fire it, it doesn't actually do it. So I still have energy in the item, which either tells me A, the EMP is not working properly, which I think it is working, or B, the EMP item is not set up properly, which actually might be the case, as I think the gun class in the army mod is set up to capture the EMP event, and I don't think I coded it in properly. Or actually, rather, in fact, I probably didn't code it in at all, because the ideal is that each gun needs to individually control how it's EMP'd. So you might want to have hardened EMP weapons, but then you might want to have non-hardened EMP weapons, which means I have to go in through here and actually code up a whole bunch of support via the JSON system to control how EMPs behave. So that's probably why this isn't working. Actually, is there any item I have in here that has power in it? I want to say I could do with an IC2 item, but IC2 support is still not implemented yet. I don't know when it's going to be added, simply because IC2 is a little bit of the pain in the butt to deal with. It does not behave like any of the other mods when it comes to power. It simply goes, okay, I have power, now you can take power out of me, but I'm not going to tell you how much power I actually consumed, and I'm just going to tell you how much power you get. Which is really, really bad, because sometimes when you're charging and discharging items, you really want to know how much power actually was removed, So you can track to make sure the items have been updated properly, or if you need to re-update them. And this is mainly a problem for the tiles, because when you put power into the tile won't tell you how much power is consumed, so you need to like spend a whole bunch of time doing math to figure out how much power can be put in there, and then offer a limited amount of power. And it's really, even though I'm complaining about it, it's not a problem per se, because it's just how IC2 is designed. IC2 is designed to be given limited size packets of power, but then sometimes when you're programming, you kind of just want to toss power at it and just be like, here, I'm going to fill you with power, or I'm going to remove all the power from you. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You get the point. Man, I'm surprised we don't have any type of battery. I'll have to make another video here later just to show off the differences in the EMP and all the effects. One thing to point out with the EMP, when I eventually get done with it, if you're wearing metal armor, you're going to get electrocuted. If you're standing next to a metal block, you're going to get electrocuted. If there's metal blocks in an inventory, it will absorb some of the EMP energy, and I'm probably going to program it to prioritize more metallic objects rather than less metallic objects. So if you put a chest and you put metal objects in there, the ideal is that the metal objects will absorb the energy, and then the items in the chest will be safe. And it's a really cool, elegant way to do things. That way I don't have to program EMP-proof chest into any of the mods or anything like that to protect your items. You can simply just encase the item in metal. Actually, let's show what I'm thinking of here. This is a thought I've been pondering. And okay, I'm in survival mode. That's going to be fun. But say, yeah, this was your item. You could just do this. And what the idea would be is the more metallic and the larger the item and the larger the stack size, the more percentage of EMP energy will be absorbed. So when it hits it, it'll go, okay, there's only like 2 watts of energy that actually finally hits the EMP gun, and 2 watts may not be enough to actually damage the weapon. Speaking of damage, items will behave differently based on the amount of energy that hits it. So the closer you are to an EMP, the more damage is done. It could literally blow machines up, destroy weapons and items. I'm going to, of course, program this in via the JSON system, so not only will you be able to control it via your JSON created items, if you want to add support to a non-Volts Engine item, say IC2, you could literally control the behavior of how an EMP behaves when it hits an IC2 machine, hits a RF machine. You could even make it affect magic stuff, so if you're like, hey, you want to go have an EMP affect Thaumcraft Essence and make it delete the Essence, you could do that with the JSON system, and I'll program abilities in for that. But anyways, that's a bit about it, and I got to get back to work here. Mainly, I got a huge web page to code, so I'll see you guys later and try to get some updates out, etc., etc.